Okay, welcome to Module 1. We're talking about understanding self-awareness and the concept of purposeful living. So I'm just going to share a quick story. My journey began somewhere like maybe 8 years ago, where I figured that I couldn't seem to put myself together. I knew that I had so much in me. I had so much worth. I had so much value, but I didn't know how to move myself from where I was to where I wanted to be. I found myself in a place where I was blaming everybody for everything that was happening to me. I could not even think to see that my life could be anything beyond what it was at the moment. What made the difference for me was that I was going through so much that I felt like I did not need to be going through. I felt like my life could be different. I could live a better life. Like, this couldn't be all there was to life. I mean, I couldn't possibly be stuck here for the rest of my life. And so I stepped out to try to make a difference, try to see if I could do anything differently to move me from where I was to where I want to be. And that's basically what I want to share in the entirety of this course. The first thing that sort of came to me was, coming to the place of self-awareness. I realized that there was so much in me, but then I needed to sort of tailor it in a way or direct it in a way that could give me the results that I needed. So that's why I want to talk to us about the concept of self-awareness. Self-awareness is basically the conscious knowledge of your own character, your feelings, your motives, and the desires that you have. It's the ability to be able to reflect on yourself and recognize the patterns in your thoughts, behaviors, and emotions. So for me, I found myself in the situation where I realized that I would prefer to be with anybody else apart from myself. And then I would also like for other people to make decisions for me because I didn't like to take responsibility for the results of my actions. Because of that, I found myself in a place where I was making decisions to please people, but I was suffering the consequences of the decisions I was making. You would think that because it's your life, you want to be fully responsible, you want to, be in control and take the decisions that concern your life, but sometimes without self-awareness, we don't understand why we do the things we do. We don't understand the motives behind the actions we're taking. The motive behind the action I was taking was that I didn't want to be responsible in case I failed. And so I wanted somebody else to take the decision. And if something went wrong, then I could blame the person and say, well, this person said I should do this, that person said I should do this, and this went wrong. So it's not my fault, it's their fault. And then I got to a point in my life I realized, you know what? When it comes down to it, I'm the one that feels the pain. I'm the one that goes through, all the problems. Now, there is that place where you're in the loop of taking actions and seeing consequences that you don't like, but you're unable to identify, why is this thing happening to me? You keep asking yourself the question, why is this happening to me? Why is my life this way? But then you can't seem to see what is causing you to continually be making these kinds of decisions. Now, that's where self-awareness comes in. Through self-awareness, you're able to understand your strengths, your weaknesses, and the belief systems that influence your actions, okay? There are two types of self-awareness that I want us to pay attention to, which are very, very important. They make all the difference. So that's internal self-awareness and external self-awareness. So internal self-awareness is you being able to understand yourself and your internal workings, like your feelings, your behaviors, your patterns, your thoughts, your belief systems. So for most people, it would be sitting down to think, what do I like? What don't I like? What are the things that influence my actions? What are the things that I believe in? What are the things that I cherish? What are things that mean a lot to me? If I had $1 million, what would I do with it? Those are your internal workings. And if you have understanding of these things, it comes together to form internal self-awareness, right? Now, external self-awareness pertains to understanding how others perceive us in various contexts and situations that help us to navigate social situations like relationships or work or community. External self-awareness is important because there are things about yourself that you're not seeing because you are you. Somebody outside of you is watching you, and they get to experience a version of you that you don't experience, because that is what they are getting from you, the feelings they're getting from you, or the energy they're getting from you, the actions they're receiving from you that you may be oblivious to. There is an account proverb that says that he that is drawing the line in the ground does not know that it's crooked, because when you're making a mark in the sand on the ground and you are the one drawing the line, you're just looking at the mark that's in front of you, but somebody elsewhere that is watching the accurateness of what it is that you're doing can tell that it's probably not straight. So external self-awareness is the knowledge that you get from asking questions from people, talking to the people around you who know you well enough to give constructive feedback on who they think you are or what they think means a lot to you based on how you have related with them in the past. Okay, so that's what constitutes external self-awareness. For most people, the issue, or we assume that we know ourselves. For most people, we think that we know ourselves so much, but it actually happens that we don't. And that's because many people avoid self-awareness and any conversation around self-awareness because it can be so hard. You can come into a knowledge of yourself and you can't believe that this is what you discovered about yourself. And because of how hard sometimes it is, people shy away from true, authentic self-discovery, right? Because how do I ask somebody who's close to me, what do you think about me? And then they tell me, I think that you're easily jealous, or I think that you're an envious person. How are you supposed to take that, right? Like, you're thinking to yourself, no, I don't want to know that about myself. Like, I don't want to hear somebody say that about me. No, I can't take it. And sometimes when you think about yourself, or you're asking yourself, questions just to try to know yourself a little bit, some of the answers that come to you are so hard. Like, sometimes you can discover that you're a very selfish person. And it's hard. It's like, you can't imagine you being a selfish person. You like to think of yourself as maybe a more pleasant person, a more friendly person, somebody who likes to share. But then when you sit with yourself and kind of examine yourself a little closely, you realize you're not as selfless or as friendly as you would have liked to be. Very recently, I had an epiphany of such a sort, and it was very moving for me because I like to think of myself as a very pleasant person. I can be very nice. I intend to be very nice, actually. It's just that, whenever sometimes you're not in a good mood, or you're just having a human experience of having a bad day, and you tend to be off. You're not as nice as you want to be to people, or you're not as pleasant as you would like to be to people. And it happens. Actually, I didn't think that it happened to me. I thought that I was always nice because in my intention, I would like to always be nice. I don't wake up in the morning thinking that I want to be mean to people. But then sometimes you have a bad day and your feelings are just off, and you're, not functioning at, peak performance. And so you're probably not as nice as you would like to be. And I realized, you know what? That's a very legit experience. And I probably feel like that sometimes, and so I'm probably not always as nice to people as I would like to be. So then that sort of sent me asking questions like, am I pleasant? Am I crazy? Am I this? Am I that? And it kind of confirmed my assumption, because I realized that sometimes you're not having a good day and you take it out on people, and you don't mean to do that, but then you do that. And so self-awareness is coming to the place of acknowledging and accepting that these things happen to me. These things happen every now and then. It doesn't make me a bad person. It just means that I'm having a human experience. Now, how do I, in the midst of this human experience, not hurt the people that are around me, or ask for help from the people around me so that I can effectively manage that circumstance? Those are the things we're looking to learn.